Hey, good morning everybody. Here's another wee video. Thought it might be interesting for people. Just a wee thing about brake pads and how to find suspension noises and stuff like that. So here we have a Seat. This is a Seat Exeo. You might have seen this before in some of my videos. Same as an Audi A4. This one here is an estate version. So customer complaint with this one was the guy got his brake pads changed at another garage, and ever since then, whenever he was lightly touching the brakes, he was hearing a clunking noise. So I had a wee look at the brake pads for him before and couldn't really see anything wrong with them, but the noise was doing his head in. So he brought it back to me this morning and asked me to have a wee look at it. So this thing has multi-link suspension in there. I'm sure you're familiar with this sort of setup in there. So I was having a look at all those joints to make sure there was no movement in it, and I just wanted to show you the tool that I use to do that. This here is a very simple device. It's just a bit of metal that you put a 1/2-inch breaker bar in, and you can roll the wheel about. So what was happening in this car now, I've already fixed this car. This is the problem was the brake pads. The brake pads that the guys had put in were cheap ones. They weren't very good. They were ill-fitting. So what I noticed whenever I was moving that wheel about was that shoulder there was able to move up and down in the carrier. So these are the brake pads here that I've taken out of the vehicle. So the ones with springs there, they go in the piston side, and these ones here go in the carrier side. So the side outward. So I can't really tell what make they are, and I'm not here to damn manufacturers or anything like that. Maybe just was unlucky, but quite simply, these shoulders just fit in there, as I saw, and this was able to move up and down. There was only about a couple of mil of a gap here, and when I moved the wheel about, I could see that moving about, and I was able to replicate the wee clunking noise. So it was only happening when you were just lightly touching the brakes before you were coming to a stop. So what I have done here is have the brakes applied there with that with my assistant there. So I'm able to rock this wheel about with this thing here just on the ground. You can see the witness marks in the concrete where I've done that before. But if you're looking for suspension movement, this is moving all the joints in the suspension as well. So yeah, the other wee thing I'm going to show you on these brake pads, which I don't know why a lot of people are aware of, there's an arrow on these brake pads. So these brake pads are actually directional. So you can see there I put an L on that one there, and that was the one I took out of the left hand side. So if that goes in against the piston on the left hand side of the car, in the UK here it's passenger side, that arrow is pointing down the way. So that is incorrect. That arrow should be pointing to the normal forward rotation. So they're in the wrong way. I have put this other make here. I've installed these, and what I noticed with that other brand is that these spring clips a lot more substantial. The spring clip on this bit here is a double sort of thing, and that is a lot more substantial. So, and the tolerances mustn't be just great. So this is a wee lesson for anybody that's in the habit of grinding instead of cleaning the carrier and grinding a wee bit off to make the pads fit. If these pads move about, if they can go up and down, whenever you're hitting the brakes, that's trying to jump up the way, and that's what was happening. And because there was a wee gap here, he was getting a wee annoying clinking noise, wee clunking noise, and it was annoying him. So yeah, so perfectly good set of pads there, plenty of meat on them, not in very long at all, and they're going to go in the bin. But again, with a directional. So I'm going to show you this wee tool here I'm using as well. I'm just going to lift her up a wee bit on the ramp. So we can get that out. Oh, a wee bit more, maybe. So, put our breaker around the road. That's that thing there. So all it is, it's got a 1/2 inch square drive in the end of it. You can make one of these if you wanted to, but that just goes in onto the wheel, and you drop the car onto it, and you can move it about. So you'll get that movement that way there. What you could also do is you can put it in that way as well, and you can rock your wheel from side to side. So if you're suspecting ball joints or suspension movement, that's a great help instead of sticking pry bars in and stuff like that. Now this here, as I say, you can make this, but this it's less than £20 to buy this. Sealy make this in the UK, so it's a Sealy product, and it's just a bar. And you give you an idea of the size of it there. It's substantial enough. So let me just measure it here. So there we are. There's a measuring tape on it. It is 14 inches long, or 360mm in length, and it's knurled, and it's the grip onto the tire. And as I say, I don't know what. I suppose you could put a bar in that hole. Then it's just blanked on one end, and 1/2 inch drive on the other end. And that's what I use to find suspension noises. Simple, dead easy, but as I say, dirt cheap. Less than 20 quid buys you that. And I don't know the number of it. If I get the number, I'll put it in the description or something, or I'll try and look it up if somebody's interested. But Sealy, it's a Sealy product, and it's in around the 20 quid mark. Yeah, your motor factors will get you that. If you do a lot of suspension work like me. So there we go. Wee quick one for this. Guys had to do the job twice here. Another garage. I think he knows the fella or something, and yeah, he knew that they were a cheap brand of brake pads he put in, and it hasn't been right since. So there we go. I'll just sign off from this one, and just a wee thing, guys. We're in Northern Ireland here, and look at that for a day. It is beautiful. So spring has struck us here in Northern Ireland, and yeah, thanks very much for watching, as ever. Thanks for all the comments, and all the best, and bye bye. Now, just a wee bonus bit here. This is a wee bit more niche technical bulletin here. Directional brake pads, constant demand for improvement, all aspect of performance, failure to fit the pads correct. This is APAC, which is would be a premium brand of brake pads in the UK. So if there is an arrow present in the back of the pad, it always should face in the direction of disc rotation. If no arrows is present, please observe the following. If a chamfer is present, it should oppose disc rotation. If two chamfers are present, then the large chamfer should oppose the disc rotation. So the crescent or half moon should oppose disc rotation on the pad there as well. So directional brake pads, that's a technical bulletin there. That was printed off AutoCAD, but I'm sure you'll be able to get that from APAC website. Wee bit to note there. So it's not just a case of firing brake pads in. Sorry about that, hit the camera there. So even if there isn't an arrow, you can get this crescent or half moon here. So we can see it on this brake pad. There's that half moon there, and that should oppose disc rotation. So that's disc rotation, and that is opposing disc rotation, this crescent or half moon. The ones I put in there do not have an arrow on it, but they do have that half moon on it. So that's a wee thing to note when fitting brake pads. So it's worthwhile just looking at the brake pads, inspecting them. It might actually be worthwhile printing this out. There's a website there, apacbraking.co.uk, resources, guides, direction, brake pads. So do a search for that. And that is all the information on it. It's worthwhile having. I have this sheet here pinned up on the wall, just to give me a reminder of it, along with a couple of other wee service infos that just to give me reminders. So yeah, that's a wee bit of extra for you on directional brake pads. So it's not just a case of firing these things in. Okay, again, thanks very much for watching. All the best and bye bye.